And now to political news. And Governor Chris Christie kicking off a bus tour of New Hampshire. The 2016 GOP candidate crisscrossing the key battleground state. New Hampshire's primary is just 7 weeks away. And another governor showing his support for Christie on the campaign trail. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan joining Governor Christie to go on the record from New Hampshire. The lead editorial Washington Post aide says stop Iran now, and that has to do with its non-nuclear activities. I assume you have a response to that.
I do. Listen, I've been saying this for a long time. I gave an interview to Jeff Goldberg in The Atlantic a few weeks ago where I said the #1 foreign policy challenge to the United States is Iran. And the reason for that is the way this president has mishandled this agreement. They're testing missiles. They're continuing to support terrorism around the world as the #1 state sponsor of terrorism. And he has given away the store. We need a new president who says 3 things. First, Iran will never get a nuclear weapon on my watch. And if I have to use military action to prevent it, I will. Second, no further agreements or even meetings with Iran until they recognize Israel's right to exist. And third, that I'm for regime change in Iran, not by sending American troops there, but the American people need to stand up as a matter of principle to the country that says death to America, to the country that stones women, and to the country that hangs homosexuals from cranes in Tehran's, in the middle of the city, because of their sexual orientation. That is not a legitimate regime, and their military activity just confirms that.
Well, they're going to get $100 billion in frozen funds. They're going to collect that.
This is Barack Obama's biggest folly as president. And it is going to be an enormous problem for the next president to try to deal with and unravel. Because what he's done has been to give away $100 billion to a regime that won't use it to build highways, Greta. They're going to use it to foment terrorism and violence around the world.
Governor Hogan, I know obviously you support Governor Christie, but why should voters listen to him or vote for him on this issue of national security?
Well, I don't think there's anybody that has more credibility than Governor Christie on this particular issue. I mean, I was for him before all of this recent talk, and now that the debate in this race has kind of changed more towards national security issues. He's the strongest one in the race. He's the only one that's prosecuted terrorists as U.S. attorney. He's the strongest guy in the field. He's a tough guy. I mean, this just shows that everything he just said is correct. The president's been a complete failure, and we need a strong leader. But we're not electing an entertainer-in-chief. We're electing a commander-in-chief and the leader of the free world. And in my opinion, voters have to look no further than the Governor Christie. He's the kind of leader we need. Okay,
you said entertainment-chief, so naturally the first thing I think of, and I didn't bring it up, he did, Donald Trump. Are you referring to Donald Trump?
Well, he's an entertaining guy, I would imagine.
But is that who you're making reference to?
Yeah.
I take it that you're not a big Donald Trump fan.
Well, I'm a big Chris Christie fan. I happen to think he's going to be the Republican nominee and the next president of the United States.
All right. No, I didn't ask you that question.
I note.
You noticed that?
Duly
okay.
Noted,
if you get near it, you will be asked, all right?
Duly noted.
Okay, duly noted. All right, immigration. Path to citizenship, path to legal status, or nothing?
Never a path to citizenship. No one who comes here knowingly, illegally, should be rewarded with the greatest possession that anyone on the globe can have, and that's an American passport. Just shouldn't happen. And we can't even begin to talk about legalization until we secure the border. The American people are fed up.
Does that mean that, okay, let's assume that we secure the border. Does that mean that the 12 million here, you would consider some sort of path to citizenship?
That's not what it means. What it means is we can't even begin the conversation with the American people. They are so angry and fed up with this government that's so ineffective, that is so incompetent in protecting our borders, that until we show them that we can do that, they're not going to give this government any more authority to do anything else, and they're right not to do it. And I'm not even going to begin to talk about it until, as president, I prove to them that I can do the other. And then we can have a national conversation about it and see where it lands. But I'm not taking any position on that now because
but don't the American people need to know? Okay, let's make the assumption you secure the border. Okay, how about that? We'll play the hypothetical. You secure the border as President Chris
You know I'm not going to answer a hypothetical, Greta. Because who knows what else is going on in the country at that point in time? Who knows what the mood in the country is at that time? The president doesn't only talk. The president needs to listen. And one of the biggest problems with this president is he hasn't listened to the American people. I'm listening to them. They're angry. They feel betrayed by this government, and I am not putting more on their plate until we get done what's already on there.
All right. Well, there are probably, out of that 12 million estimated here illegally in the United States, they probably have children who are voting age. So they probably want to know what you're thinking about, you know, assuming the borders are secure, whether there will be some path to citizenship, some path to legal status, or some sort of security, whether they can stay in the country or you're going to send ICE out to pick them up in the middle of the night.
Well, listen, if they're voting, then they're already American citizens.
No, they're children. But I mean, no, I'm saying their children are, they are not.
Well, listen, the fact is, if they want to know what I'm going to do, come and help me secure the border first, and then we'll work on it together. What I've said is I'll listen to everyone and we'll work together. But I'm not going to give an answer to that now because we haven't done first things first. And this is the problem. Politicians make promises for things that are well off in the distance when they don't know whether they can accomplish the first things they need to do. I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to go there.
But it is an ideology of what, I mean, because it's a serious problem. There are all these people in the country, and a lot of them are friends and neighbors, people we like. Some people want to throw them out. Some people want them to stay. And it is a big question. It's 12 million people. What do we do with them?
It's 12 million people in a country of 330 million, Greta. We have a lot of other problems to deal with in this country that are a heck of a lot bigger.
Okay, so I take it it's beating a dead horse if I ask it again?
Yes.
All right, okay, beating a dead horse. What would you do, Governor Hogan?
I would give the same answer.
Okay, good. Well, that's what I figured.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
All right, the economy. The state of New Jersey has had the downgrades, as you know, 9 credit downgrades. You don't raise taxes on the wealthy. You have not raised taxes on the corporations, right? Corporate?
No.
Okay.
I haven't raised taxes on anybody.
What?
I haven't raised taxes on anybody. I've vetoed more tax increases than any governor in American history, according to Americans for Tax Reform. I'm proud of that.
Okay. Give me the explanation why someone sitting out there who just sees the headline, Governor Chris Christie, New Jersey, 9 credit downgrades.
That's
why that
it's old news. It's old news. You want to know the new news?
Yeah.
Yeah, the new news just came out this month that New Jersey for 2015
got the jobs.
Has its strongest job growth in the private sector in 15 years. 15 years, strongest job growth. The fact is, it took a while for our policies to work because we're fighting a Democratic legislature every day. They haven't let me cut taxes as much as I might want to. They still spend, and I have to get it out of there with a line item veto. So we still battle. They still don't want to deal finally with the pension program. And so there are problems in New Jersey that we're still trying to work on. But here's the headline. The headline isn't the credit downgrades anymore. We haven't had a credit downgrade in a while. Here's the headline. Strongest job growth in New Jersey in 15 years in 2015. That's why people should look at me as someone who can steward this American economy as well.
All right, I'll give you one. I'll even give you one for your campaign. Is that while your unemployment rate is a little over 5, but 5.7,
5.3,
which is above the national average. But wait a second. I'm giving this one to you. I'm giving you this one is that your labor participation rate has remained steady, so that's not a phony number.
No, it's a real number. And
I gave that one to you.
Right, and it shows you, by the way, Greta, that people in New Jersey are still optimistic that they can go out and get jobs. They're not sitting on their couches and thinking that there's no way they can get a job, and that's because they know they have a governor out there who's working hard every day to create opportunity with the private sector. By the way, when private sector jobs have gone up 225,000 new private sector jobs in the last 6 years, public sector employment has gone down. We're shrinking government. We're freeing up more capital to be spent by the private sector. What
do you think, Governor Hogan, when you look at the state of New Jersey,
It's very similar to my state, and we're kind of going about the problem the same way. One of the reasons why I like Governor Christie. I mean, here's a Republican governor in a deep blue state.
Which you are.
Which I am in Maryland. 2/3 of both houses of our legislature are fairly liberal Democrats. We went through an economy where we lost 8,600 businesses and 200,000 jobs over the past few years. We've started to turn it around. We've gone from last to first in the Mid-Atlantic region in job creation. In 11 months, we've created 53,000 jobs. We're now growing jobs at one of the fastest rates in the country, and we're doing it the same way he's done it in New Jersey, by cutting taxes, by reducing the size of government and slowing the growth, and taking the tax burden off the people. People now feel that Maryland's a place they can do business. They feel that they can hire and grow their businesses.
It's interesting, as I did research for this, is, boy, the New Jersey Star-Ledger hates you, the editorial board.
Yeah.
Why?
I wear it as a point of pride. Because they're crazy liberals, Greta.
But they endorsed you in 2013. They did. But in their endorsement, it was a backhanded endorsement. Yeah. They said that you're less worse.
Right.
That's how they endorsed you.
So, listen, I think Joe McQuaid and the New Hampshire Union leader have it right. They are crazy.
No, I mean Star-Ledger, not
Star-Ledger. They have it right. The New Hampshire Union leader called the Star-Ledger crazy, and they are. And I don't pay attention to them. I don't get the newspaper. I don't read them, and I don't really care. We really don't, Greta. I mean, the New York Times doesn't like me. You know, this is a badge of honor for me as a conservative Republican.
They say they know you. They say that New Hampshire doesn't know you. That's why you got endorsed.
No, that's not true. And by the way, as you mentioned, they endorsed me in 2013. So, you know, they're bitter, angry people who have an agenda, and that's fine. Listen, I'm from New Jersey. I have a very thick skin. I don't care.
All right. Well, they're also, after you today, they're saying that Bridgegate is a time bomb, that it's going to blow up on you.
Yeah, well, you know, they're wrong about that the way they've been wrong about most things.
Can you work with Democrats?
I have. Look at what's happened in New Jersey. 2% property tax cap, done with Democrats. Interest arbitration reform to lower the cost of public sector employee costs, done with Democrats. Pension and benefit reform, done with Democrats. 6 balanced budgets, done with Democrats. Tenure reform, done with Democrats. Of course I can work with Democrats.
You said you were quoted Secretary Hillary Clinton as having happy talk.
She's Secretary Happy Talk. That's my new name for her. I'm not going to call her Secretary Clinton anymore. I'm going to call her Secretary Happy Talk.
Why? I mean, she talks about issues. She's a tough talker.
Please. She said we're where we need to be with ISIS.
I think she probably might want a do-over on that one.
Yeah, well, sorry, you don't get one. You're running for president.
No do-overs.
Well, if she wants to apologize and say she's wrong and that their policy is ineffective.
You got a do-over on immigration. You used to be in favor of a path to legal status.
Because I stood up and said I changed my policy. If Hillary Clinton stands up and says, I was wrong at the debate the other night, we're not where we need to be on ISIS, I was wrong, I misspoke, I give her a do-over. But she won't, because she never takes accountability for anything. How about 3 times Martha Raddatz asked her what responsibility she has for the mess in Libya? She refused to answer the question. And you know, Greta, that if in fact Libya had been a raging success, she would have been dancing on that stage with her hair on fire to get attention about the fact that it went well. But she won't take responsibility or accountability for anything. Anything.
Governor, thank you.
Thank you, Greta.